Many times when playing pool games, we are faced with the need to play shots that require very precise positioning of the cue ball. We have difficulties to choose best possible way of position play. So in this video, I'm going to show you 8 most important shots you need to incorporate into your practice routine to take your game to the next level. In every example, I will show you some position play possibilities and explain difficulty, risk and reward to better understand which specific way will be best to choose in given situation. In the first situation, we have 4 ball to play, which is placed close to the long rail between first and second diamond. And the final 9 ball, for which we need to make position, is placed in the main point of the table. Cue ball is located in the center point of the table. Many beginner pool players try to stay with the cue ball on the same side of the table where is the 4 ball. Angle of the shot is large and this will be really challenging to kill the speed of the cue ball after contact with the long rail. So in this case, we need to play a bit harder and try to leave the cue ball on the right side of the table. But this shot required to apply correct amount of spin and speed, because as you can see, if we apply too less spin, then cue ball hits the 9 ball and we can lose the position for this ball. Same situation will be if we apply too much spin, because then we can land too high and really close to the long rail, which result with difficult position for the final shot. Of course, there is some risk of scratching in the middle pocket, so this shot requires from us good understanding of spin and speed. We should try to use second long rail, because this option will give us the best result and reward. We have also the second way to make position in the same place. This time we need to apply top left spin and use not too much speed. Difficulty of this shot is not too high, but we need to calculate deflection, because this can result with missed shot. There is no risk of scratching in the corner pocket, and the K in this situation will be speed of the shot to leave the cue ball in comfortable position for the 9 ball. So in my opinion, you should choose first option using 2 rail position, because this will give you better results. The second example involves situation where 4 ball is placed on the second diamond on the left long rail, while 9 ball, for which we need to make position, is located 1 diamond higher. Cue ball is placed again in the center point of the table. In this situation, we have actually 3 good options to make position for the 9 ball. In the first one, we need to use 2 rails, and after contact with right long rail really close to the middle pocket, we are landing with very good position for the 9 ball. But this shot has high risk of scratching in the middle pocket, because to make perfect position for the 9 ball, we need to make contact with right long rail just before the middle pocket. If this contact will be too early, then we can scratch in the left middle pocket. We can also try to hit the right long rail behind the middle pocket, but in this situation, cue ball will finish too high, really close to the top short rail. So in this case, difficulty and risk of this shot is high, but reward, if we play this shot correctly, is really high too. In the second option, we need to play a bit more difficult shot than before, because we need to use 3 rails. This time we need to apply top left spin to go around the table for 9 ball to the same pocket. The risk of this shot is lower than before, because there is low chance to scratch in the right corner or left middle pocket, and if we find the correct path and speed, then the reward of this shot will be really high. And there is one more option, and this time we need to use 2 rails again, but now we are making position for the 9 ball to the top right corner pocket. This shot is not difficult, because we are not using side spin on the cue ball. The risk of this shot is really low, because there is no chance to scratch in any pocket, and if we apply correct speed, then the reward of this shot will be really high. And from these 3 options, in my opinion, you should choose the last one, because you don't need to use any difficult spin which can cause wrong contact and mistake. We are using really safe path, and the main difficulty is to find the correct speed to place the cue ball for the 9 ball as straight as possible. And now we are jumping to the next example, where we encounter a very common situation where we have to play 4 ball at a quite high angle, and we have to make a position for 9 ball which is placed on the third diamond on the long rail. Additionally, we have an angle that draws the cue ball outwards, which means that if we hit the cue ball at its center, we completely lose our position for the 9 ball. In the first option, we can apply a lot of right-hand English, and after contact with the bottom short rail, go for the 9 ball to the same pocket. This shot is really difficult to control, because we are using a lot of side spin, and this causes the cue ball to deflect from its natural line, which additionally generates a lot of risk. We have also the second option, and this time we need to use left-hand English, and using 2 rails we are making position for the 9 ball to the same pocket. Difficulty and risk of this shot is high, but maybe not that much like in previous example because we are using less spin, so the reward of this shot is really high. And actually there is one more option, and this time we are using the most complicated path. We need to hit the cue ball with bit of topspin and use 4 rails and go around the table for the 9 ball to the same pocket. Risk of the shot is not too high because we are using safe path, but the shot is really difficult because we need to apply a lot of speed, which can cause mistakes. In my opinion, you should choose the second option because in this situation you can achieve best position for the 9 ball if you apply correct spin and speed. In the remaining ways, shots were much more difficult with really low reward. And now we move to another very common situation on the table where we have to play very easy 4 ball, but we have to make position for 9 ball, which is located on the bottom short rail. Very often pool players make mistakes when positioning the cue ball due to the need to cover quite a long distance and have difficulties to apply correct spin and speed. First method to make position for the 9 ball is really easy because we are using natural angle of this shot. Only what we need is to apply a bit of top right spin and medium speed to use 3 or 4 rails and make safe position for the 9 ball. This shot has really low difficulty and not too much risk, as we can scratch in the bottom corner pocket, but the reward of this shot is very high. In the second option we will use the same path after contact with the object ball, but this time we need to apply bit of top left spin to change path of the cue ball after contact with the second rail. This shot has similar difficulty and risk like in previous method, and the reward is very high too. Third method is much more difficult than before, because this time we need to use top short rail first. Due to applied low left spin, cue ball changes its path immediately after contact with the short rail, and using left long rail we are landing in perfect position for the 9 ball. And of course risk is a bit higher than before because we need to apply a lot of side spin, which generates more deflection, which can result with wrong contact and mistake. Another method requires similar contact with the object ball like before, but this time we need to apply right hand English. This time we are using different path after contact with the top short rail to go for the 9 ball to the left side of the table. This shot has similar difficulty and risk to the previous shot, but again the reward will be very high. In my opinion, the best method to choose from is first example, where we are using not too much speed and spin, and cue ball follows very safe path far away from the pockets. In the following example, we encounter a very common situation where 4 ball is placed in the middle of top short rail and we have shot with some angle. Additionally, 9 ball, for which we need to make position, is located in the main point of the table. Many times pool players try to use only one rail and make position for the final ball on the left or right side of the table. In my opinion, this is a big mistake because there is a lot of risk that we will play inaccurate and we use wrong path, which can result with a very difficult next shot or completely lost position. We can apply top right spin and use right long rail to perform perfect position for the 9 ball. Difficulty of this shot is a bit higher than before, but the reward will be really high. Additionally, there is no risk that we can scratch in the middle pocket, so you should consider this method. And the second method is very similar, but this time we will use left long rail as break. So in this case we need to apply a bit of low left hand English and low speed to create a very safe path and position for the 9 ball on the other side of the table. Difficulty, risk and reward is similar like before, and in my opinion you should choose one of these methods depending on whether you like to give low or top spin more. The next example covers situation where we are faced with the need to perform difficult positioning. We have shot with large angle and additionally 4 ball is located far away from the pocket. 9 ball is placed in the middle of the bottom short rail and this makes high difficulty of this shot. If we try to play only top spin, then you can see that the cue ball after contact with the long rail going towards right middle pocket. In the first method, we have to apply a lot of left-hand English to change path of the cue ball dramatically after contact with the rail to place the cue ball on the right side of the 9 ball. This shot is difficult, so in this case risk is high, but the reward is medium, because despite applying correct spin, we landed with some angle on the 9 ball. The second option is easiest than previous shot, because this time we need to use bit less left-hand English, but much more speed to place the cue ball on the left side of the 9 ball. We need to use one more rail, which result with high risk, but the reward will be very high. The last and the most difficult method covers the situation where we need to use 3 or 4 rails and go with the cue ball around the table. This time we need to apply a lot of low right-hand English and high speed because cue ball needs to travel long distance. This makes the shot very difficult and with a lot of risk, but the reward will be very high because we can create perfect position for the 9 ball. This is really difficult to recommend one method which you should to choose, but for me I play shots much better when I have to use low spin, because I feel this type of shots much better, so I would personally choose the last method. In the following example of common positioning, we encounter a situation where 4 ball is located on the second diamond on the left long rail, and we need to make position for the 9 ball to the top area close to the corner pockets. Many times pool players try to stay on the right side of the 9 ball and play deep and smooth backspin, but the high angle of this shot makes it almost impossible. So in this case, in the first method, we need to put the cue ball on the left side of the 9 ball. This shot is not difficult and the risk is not high too, but this time the reward will be very high if we execute it with correct speed. And there is one more option where we need to apply a lot of left-hand English to go for the 9 ball using rails located in the bottom half of the table. This time this shot is more difficult than the previous method, but we have less risk because cue ball follows very safe path and always will go towards the left side of the table, so the reward is very high. However, in my opinion, we should use this method because it is more repeatable and predictable than the previous one. And finally, at the end of this episode, I have for you another very common situation where 4 ball is the pocket hanger, and we need to make position for the 9 ball which is located in same place like in previous example. Many times pool players make classic big mistake because they try to play this ball very thick and with a lot of topspin. And this is the biggest mistake because cue ball has a lot of forward rotation and this rotation kills the speed of the cue ball after contact with the rail. So in this case we should aim 4 ball much thinner, and in the first example we will use only one rail to make position for the 9 ball on the left side of the table. Executing this shot is very easy because we are using center ball and low speed, and there is low risk that we can scratch in the corner pocket, but the reward will be very high. In the second method we need to aim 4 ball thin again, but this time we will use 2 rails, so in this case you should apply left hand English and try to make contact with right long rail just before the corner pocket to perform perfect position for the 9 ball. This shot is very predictable and the main difficulty is to find the correct speed to achieve highest reward. The third method is much more difficult because this time we need to hit rail first. This is really difficult to find the correct point of contact with the long rail because this has huge impact on following contact with the object ball. There is low risk of scratching but bit too thick contact with the object ball, and we are losing position of the cue ball, so we should avoid this method. And there is one more easy and safe way, and we need to make very thin contact with the object ball again, but this time we need to apply a lot of right hand English. Cue ball, due to applied spin, makes contact with 2 rails and follows very safe path, which makes this shot worth to consider. And in my opinion, you should choose the first option because we are using low speed and hitting the cue ball at its center, which makes the shot very easy and predictable. Of course, there are many more shots, but I think that these are the situations we encounter most often, so if you implement them into your training, I'm sure that you will be able to take your game to a much higher level. If you enjoyed this video, then please consider leaving a thumbs up and share your opinion in the comments below. If you like my content, then don't forget to hit the subscribe button to be updated with videos like this. Thank you for watching and I hope to see you in the next lesson. Take care!